improper, it is considered a bad offense there and then. It does not have to be carried out through action to be counted as wrong. For example, when you see a pretty lady and give rise to improper thoughts, that is an offense. Weigh his scroll of good and evil deeds.
Yes, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, his scroll of good deeds is heavier than that of his evil deeds.
Surprise that my scroll of good deeds is heavier than that of my evil deeds. I can't really recall what major good deeds I've done.
Have you really forgotten about it? Once the Emperor planned to build a great stone bridge. You opposed the project due to the hardship it would cause the thousands of people needed for the work. Well, this is a copy of your proposal to the Emperor.
I did make that proposal, but the Emperor dismissed it. How can it bear so much weight against my numerous offenses?
Although the Emperor did not take your suggestion, that one thought of kindness you bore for the tens and thousands of people was very great. If the Emperor had listened to you, then the good performed would be even greater. Take him away.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Therefore, when one is determined to do good for the benefit of all people, then a small deed can reap great merits. If one thinks only about benefiting oneself, then even if many deeds of kindness are performed, the merit would still be small. What is difficult and easy goodness? The knowledgeable scholars of the past used to say, when one wishes to conquer one's greed and desires, one should start with the most difficult to overcome. We should practice like the old teacher Mr. Su of Jiangxi, who gave 2 years' worth of salary to a poor man to pay for the fine to the government. Thus he saved the man and his wife from being torn apart, should the husband be taken to prison. Another example is Mr. Zhang from Hebei, who saw an extremely poor man who had to mortgage his wife and child and had no money for their redemption. If he was unable to pay for their return, the mother and child could both lose their lives. Yet another example is Mr. Jin from Chenqiang, Jiangsu province. He was old and without any sons, so his neighbor offered their young daughter in marriage to him to give him descendants to carry on his lineage. But Mr. Jin could not bear to ruin the otherwise bright and long future of this young girl, and so refused the offer and sent her back home. This is another example of being able to overcome what is most difficult to conquer in oneself. Therefore, the heavens showered down fortune, which was especially good for these 3 old men. It is easier to accumulate merit and virtue for those who have money and power than for those who are poor. But if one refuses to cultivate kindness, even when it is easy and one has the chance to do so, then it would truly be a shame. For those who are poor and without prestige, doing kind things for others is a great difficulty. But if in this difficulty one can still manage to help others, then it is a great virtue, and the merits gained would be boundless. In being a moral person and dealing with affairs, we should help others whenever the opportunity presents itself. You should know that helping others is not such an easy task, and that there are many ways to do it. In short, the ways of helping others can be simplified into 10 important categories.
Father, what are these 10 categories?
Go and get ready the brush and ink before you take them down.
Well, I'm ready, Father.
All right. The first is supporting the practice of kindness. When we see the people trying to do a little kindness, we should assist them in their deeds and help their kindness grow. When we see others who wish to do good but cannot accomplish it on their own, we should lend a hand and help them succeed. This is the way we can cultivate supporting the practice of kindness. The second category is harboring love and respect. We should harbor respect towards those who are more knowledgeable, older, or of higher status than we are. For those who are younger, less fortunate, or of lower status, we should harbor a mind of loving care. The third category is helping others succeed. When we see a person who is considering whether or not to do a good deed, we should persuade him to put all his efforts into doing it. When others meet with difficulties in practicing kindness, we should help think of ways to overcome the difficulty and guide them to success. We must not be jealous at the accomplishments of others, nor try to sabotage their good acts. The fourth category is persuading others to practice kindness. When we meet a person who is doing evil, we should tell him that doing evil will only result in great suffering and painful retribution, and that he must avoid doing evil at all costs. We should tell people who refuse to practice kindness or are only willing to practice a little kindness that doing kind deeds will definitely have its rewards, and that kindness not only has to be cultivated, but must be cultivated constantly and on a large scale. The fifth category is helping those in desperate need. Most people tend to give when there is no need to give, and refuse to give when there is really a need. When we meet people who are in great difficulties, emergencies, or dangers, we should lend them a hand and help in whatever way we can to bring them out of their difficult times. The merits accrued from helping others in times of desperate needs are boundless indeed. However, one should not become proud and conceited for doing such deeds. The sixth category is developing public projects for the greater benefit of the people. Projects which will bring great benefit to the public usually have to be performed by those with great influence and power. If a person has this capacity, such as rebuilding the water system or assisting a disaster area, then he ought to do it for the benefit of the general public. The seventh category is giving through donation. People of this world love, seek, and even die for money. Who is actually willing to help others by giving their own money away? When we recognize the difficulty involved in donation, we can come to appreciate the rarity of the man who is willing to give for the purpose of helping others in need. He is an even greater man in the eyes of the poor. The eighth category is protecting the proper teachings. This is referring to the teachings of different religions. We must be able to differentiate between proper religions and deviant religions. Teachings with proper wisdom and views, such as that of Buddhism, which promotes kindness and goodness in society, should be supported. If one happens to see others in the act of destroying such proper teachings, one must put forth a complete effort to protect and uphold these teachings. The ninth category is respecting our elders. Anyone who is deeply learned, knowledgeable, has high prestige, or is older than us is considered to be an elder and should be highly regarded and respected. The 10th category is loving and cherishing all living things. We should feel sympathy for all living creatures, even the tiny ants, which know of suffering and are afraid to die. How can we kill and eat beings and not feel the least sorry? There are countless good deeds which I am unable to mention here one by one. Let it be sufficient for me to say that you will be able to accumulate many merits if you deliberate on